Good morning. It's
Good
just you.
morning.
We're missing our third amigo.
I was looking at the right because I see at the left on my screen. I was looking at the right, like I'm missing indeed. Golden's not here. But let's see how this episode will go. If it will goes really well, then we might say Golden, sorry, not needed anymore. If we just really see we're missing him halfway with his opinion and promoting some local programs, for example, some airlines or some hotel chains. Let's see. We ask him to come back this week.
No, if he's watching, I think we have a visitor on right now. We definitely miss you, Golden. Don't think that we're gonna kick you.
I will say at the end of the episode if I miss him or not. Let's see.
Well, I miss him already. I miss his wit and data. He's a good data guy, so it's always exciting. But
that's true.
How's the
really
week been?
If I'm not attending one, I'm really curious though. If I'm not attending one of the episodes, if you're gonna say the same, but let's see.
Yeah, well, I'll make sure. I'm the in between person, right? I'll make sure everyone's happy.
Okay.
No, sweet. Well, how was your week, man? Anything exciting or new going on with Bidroom?
Yeah, it's again. I just mentioned every week the same, but it's super busy. A lot of things are happening now, so we're moving forward with a lot of things. You see the way we're building now, also our connectivity and everything. We're in full speed, which is really nice actually. So, and also I think also what we did last week on last Friday, we had a monthly update. Afterwards, we did some workouts. So actually, Raymond Boniaski, which is 3 times world champion K1 kickboxing, I asked him to do some workout for us. I thought it would be nice, but if I knew it before, how might you not do it? Because I had like the whole weekend, like I think every muscle hurts. And the worst thing is it was a half-hour workout. Of course, it was on Zoom, right? So everybody was doing it from their home. But actually, when the webcam was not see me because we had to, for example, plank, I was like hiding myself and he couldn't see me. But the worst thing is, even though I was cheating sometimes on the exercises, still everything hurt. So no, it was. I don't hope he's watching because he's quite big and maybe he's going to be angry at me. I have to hide myself. No, but it was really fun. I think it was nice to actually combine actually the monthly meeting where you're of course discussing the things which we're doing in the company, everybody from his own department, and then actually ending with some good workout and motivational speech. I think it's always good. And we see the same. What he shared actually is pretty common, right? When you go into sometimes an underdog position or sometimes you're smaller, you just have to work harder and be smart, and that's actually what we're doing as well. So it was nice to also some motivational part from his side, and now fully ready for this week to work harder and be smarter than ever again.
Heck yeah, work harder and smarter. Well, I think it's a good way to segue into to the topic of this week, because I think we all need a little bit of motivation when it comes to thinking about events and conferences and conventions and all this other stuff. And that's kind of like the main topic that you and I are bringing up, because I think we've all been talking a lot about, drive to destinations and travel here in the US on top of now the UK's roadmap that was announced and opened up. But the one thing that we're all kind of waiting on is the ability to all gather in bigger groups, aka conventions or just overall bigger meetings and conferences. So I want to kind of get your thoughts on some convention changes or possible how do you think this is all going to go down in the next year or two?
It's difficult. I would just now, actually always in March, it's one of my favorite conferences, which is the ITB in Berlin, which is one of the largest travel conferences in the world. I think around 160,000 people coming together for a few days in Berlin. And actually I attended for the last, I think, 8 or 9 years. Last year was canceled right before. So this is something which now they're doing it. So last year was completely canceled. Now this year they're doing it virtually. Normally the whole team, 2 years ago, we took the whole team. We went in several buses and we just went to Berlin. It was a lot of fun. And now you see actually that it's virtually. And I think 2 people from the whole team are joining. So is it the same? No, for sure not. Because even though it's virtually, we're taking much less people are involved actually. And I'm not even attending this year, but normally it's my place to go and I'm really looking forward to it. So yes, they're planning again, of course, next week. I just checked their website and they're planning a normal one. Just call it like this. Everything is under control next year. I'm not sure if it really come back to the level it was before. I don't think it was, because it was always super crowded. As I said, 160,000 people or more rocking around for a few days. I'm not sure if it's really going to come back so strong. I think maybe the first year can come back quite quick because other people missed it. But I think years after, let's see. I think they more go to hybrid events. Another one, for example, is the World Tourism Forum. Bidroom won the award in 2017, and now I'm jury member of the startup competition in there, which is, let me check, I think 29 and 30 of April. So people who really like conferences, it's a really nice event. One of my favorites as well, which is actually held in Luzern normally. Now they're moving to Andermatt, amazing place. And actually the conference will be there, but they're going to do into a hybrid model, which means a small group of people will be there. If everything is under control, I will be there as well, and I will be speaker there on those days. But let's see how things move forward. But it's a really interesting conference as well. So people look out the World Tourism Forum conference in Luzern. It's really interesting to attend as well. They also do it virtually, so remotely, so you can join. But also you can see it differently, because years ago I was attending there, and you see there's thousands of people coming together. And this is now going to hybrid. You can join virtually. And in the end, when things are becoming easier and easier, and you see the software out there become better and better, those really people struggle, right? And I think it was a few weeks ago we mentioned, to make the bridge to this topic, the bridge, we mentioned Hopin. Hopin raised, I think, 125 million euro investment. I think they raised a few days ago 400 million. So they raised in November, quite a large amount. Now it's a few months later. Pretty well done if you see in a phase of 4 months. So I think soon after I already started the discussion about the second round. They raised another 400 million. I think the valuation is, I think, 5.5 billion, as I understood and I saw quickly. So it's, you see that they're
investing, and a lot of people are predicting and investing into the future of hybrid or virtual events right there. That's like, 5.5 billion. That's a lot.
It is a lot. And you can see that the investors, of course, they're looking at trends, of course. When they're investing amounts like this, it's not that you just think, okay, it might work next year, it might work for the few years. No, everything what they're doing is based on not only predictions, but really on data and really expectations, which should be correct. So it seems to be that this is the hybrid model and the way to go, right? And we have now, of course, our kind of weekly sessions, and of course, I think StreamYard, what we're using, is also bought by Hopin. So you might see some consolidation in there, but you see the software is improving. So I fully believe the hybrid model will not go away. I hope that the normal conferences, and I mentioned ITB, for example, and one of my favorites, Focusrite, I think it's planned, in November, something like this year, which is normally in the US. One of the ones I like as well. Let's see. So I really hope, and it's also what I miss, right? To be really honest, I always like those conferences. Our iMeet Hotel, well, it goes also online, which before it was also, of course, in real life. We'll see in which kind of way it will come back. Hopefully, we'll do the live versions again in the future, and might combine it with hybrid for sure.
Yeah. The thing for me is, like, what sucks is, like, right when I quit my job as a manager, as a hotel manager, I went to my first conference in March last year, the Short Stay Show in London, and that's when everything went to lockdown and restrictions and all this other craziness. And that was my first experience with the conference. Like, I wanted to go and do more, and like the goal was to travel and to be speaking and doing all these things. And granted, like, I've done a ton of virtual ones this year, but it's just, I don't know, man. I just miss. I'm hoping, even with the hybrid model, that we'll start doing more in-person stuff. It's just, like you said, with the $5.5 billion valuation for a virtual streaming conference site or platform, that's pretty telling, in my opinion. Just like, that's where a lot of this is going to go, including, like, we and I were talking before this, Clubhouse. The granted, it's only invite only on iPhone for now, but as it develops, and they just launched like a bunch of new features recently, so it's, I think, going to be one of those things that conferences, the content that you plan for a conference is going to change, because a lot of people are doing this content that they hear or see at conferences for free on Clubhouse or on other little social media platforms, whether it's like Facebook private groups or other stuff like that. They're doing the same type of speech that they would at a conference, but online. So it'll be kind of interesting to see if conferences open back up again. I want to see the type of content or conversations that people are doing at those conventions versus what they're doing online. If there's any difference, are they withdrawing stuff that they're saying online and being reserved so that way they don't give all their good golden nuggets, or are they doing both? Like, that'd be quite interesting for me to see.
Well, if you're talking about Clubhouse, of course, they position themselves. If you see the image and everything is around the consumer brand. But if you're looking at the content you see, it's mainly, maybe mine, but the content I see is mainly focusing on business. So it's just a matter of time when they're adding more business solutions, right? And you can really organize your audio conference on Clubhouse. But you see the topics now. If I just open Clubhouse and see there what is now open and popular rooms, as they're calling this, I think so. Another specialist that I give for. You see mainly it's about businesses, right? About business ideas, startups, founders, and of course, it's also my interest is in there. But you can see that there's most of the rooms on there is still business related. I think also to be in a room with some people and every stranger can join to talk about more personal stuff. I think it's still scary, right? So I think Clubhouse is focusing on business eventually. And you will see that more business solutions would come for sure. What I really mean more about the networking part, what the conference part is in networking. And I think that's what is somehow will never be like as a hybrid model, right? If I'm attending a conference, I'm a speaker and you're talking to the other speakers at the backstage and you just have a chat, some of them you're exchanging some details and you might catch up later or whatever. Yeah. There's always some events after as well. And I never saw it when you have an online event and you're exchanging details and later you have a beer together virtually, right? This is not really happening. Yeah, it is so.
I've seen a little bit different on Clubhouse, just a little. Like, I've had the most engagement and interaction with people from Clubhouse rooms than I have in a long time. Like, seen on Facebook or Twitter or anything. Like, granted, I don't know. It's just there's something different about it. Like, it definitely. I think it's still in that new stage, probably that it's really hyped up, but we'll see how it goes in like another year. This is what I'm kind of thinking is like, okay, let's see if this lasts a year. The engagement, like the amount of like podcast listens have gone up, like skyrocketed from Clubhouse, social media follows, messages, collaborations, like all that type of stuff. That network is kind of happening in a different way than you would expect. Like, granted, we're not getting offline and going to have a Zoom beer, but we like people are immediately going into like Instagram DMs and be like, hey, let's talk about this and this. I want to see if we can do this together and blah, 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 blah. Like, just goes. And it's like, all right, cool. Like, it's I don't know. I feel like it gives us access to people or to our community globally in a way that we never probably have seen. It's just, there's a lot going in.
This is great. And if I look back at our IMIT hotel conference, I know, remember when we started, it was difficult to fill a room with 70 people, right? If you look at the first editions, later you might go to a couple hundred. But even see, we did, and you joined, is it 2 weeks ago or something? We did a Clubhouse, right? And before we know, we had 70 people joining without much promotion. Yeah. And you can see how quick this can grow. So we didn't have to do much effort to get 70 people in a room. If you're looking, for example,
it's direct to consumer. That's what it is. It's like an e-commerce platform for events. Like, it's a direct to consumer brand.
There's no friction anymore. And then you just open the app, you see, I see a room which is actually interesting, which is actually the topic I'm interested in, and you're just joining, and that's it. So it's also less friction and everything. And we discussed about also in the hotel industry, friction and onboarding and etc. And I think it's the same, doesn't matter which vertical. Friction, as soon as there's friction, it just helps people off. And I think why Clubhouse is because there's no friction. Maybe there should be a bit more, maybe some more guidelines, but in that case, because you can see everybody, you can see what they're doing, there's zero privacy. As soon as you're using it, you choose for it in this case as well. It might come with some more kind of privacy related things, because even though everybody could follow you, somebody don't want people always can listen to you, right?
They just did this new feature so you create your own club now in Clubhouse, and so if you host a room in that club, only your club members can see it. So it's not kind of like how you're saying they're switching away. I think more private, like they're grouping off. They're making like subgroups, which is kind of interesting to see how that will play with amount of people that come into rooms now that are hosted in like smaller clubs. But yeah, anyways, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
It's just a new feature I've been playing with. I created my own in there just to see, like, all right, can this be something that's, actually beneficial for, people that create content, podcasts, industry leaders that, are trying to keep that small niche of good people that like to engage and like be thoughtful on the conversation versus having a ton of people in the room and people are just like not really engaging with the conversation, if that makes sense. So
for content sharing is great. And often, of course, if you go back to the main topic conference, you go there, of course, for the topic, for the speakers and everything. But again, it will never replace the personal, like the relation to meet people. Yeah. And if you're looking at also the success of Bitcoin where we are now, the chains we're working with, or for example, the partners that we have, or the investors and everything, I think when I make the whole list, I think 90% of the people, maybe even more, I met them because of a conference. If we look at our investors, of course, some award shows, if you're looking at, for example, at the chains, it's still differently, right? If we just meet them in person, you can really express yourself differently. You can show them something, and it is different. And again, you might still close partnerships or getting hotels on board now. And yes, we did extremely well, of course, when you're looking at the hotel growth we had last year by having meetings on by video or phone calls or email, etc. But still, if you're looking at the big partnerships, it's still, you want to look somebody in the eyes, right? And also you can see the people which we met and the investors and everything, they really, if they see you, they're investing in the person, investing in your leads. And then behind the camera, it's always still different. And I really can't wait when things become a bit back to normal. Might be a bit balanced in the beginning. But again, if I see the conference I attending last year, right, I just talked about the ITB in Singapore years ago, then the Focusrite conferences and everything. I just really like it. I just love it. And you just did what I said, you're meeting people, you heard interesting stories. And also when somebody's on stage, it's so much more interesting to listen to than, with all respect, on the Clubhouse. So it's different. And I hope this come back. And my only concern is if it will come back like the size before. I don't think so. I think like a big conference when people have to travel from far away. I talk about the ITB, for example. I think this will move more to maybe balanced into a hybrid model. And I think it's also one point good because it means also you can access people who are not able to travel because of cost or because of other reasons. They might still be able to see the content, which I think is good. So it makes it also more addressable for many people. But the other hand, of course, is also the fact that, and to be there in real life, to see what is happening, to feel actually the atmosphere, it's super important.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say that's what we're all in. We're in hospitality. We like people, and I think that's the part that no matter what we do in the industry, virtual conferences or not, that we're always going to want that human to human interaction. That's why, like, I'm not putting all my eggs in the virtual basket. Like, definitely not. Like, it's great to get known, and then when the in-person events happen, that's where you show up and execute on everything you've been doing online or whatever. That's just my opinion. I definitely think that the in-person aspect of it will never go away. Never.
I think especially travel hospitality is, I think, if you're looking at the one who probably come back one of the strongest, because people who work in travel hospitality, they work in industry because they just want to travel, and and hospitality is about meeting people in real life as well, right? If you're talking to a virtual desk in the front of the hotel to somebody in person, it is different, right? Self-check-in or not. So I think the same is an industry which will probably recover better when it's related to conferences and conventions, I think, is the travel and hospitality conferences, because people choose to work in this industry and they love this industry because of traveling and events. So I think this one come back quite okay. I think in different areas, maybe in different industries, that might be different, right?
Yeah. Definitely, for sure. Well, speaking of conferences, I have to do a little bit of a shameless plug. There is a conference coming up this month that I'm a speaker on for the Tourism World Summit. It's called Tourism Renaissance. So I am putting it out there. You got your lovely speaker right here. I'll be speaking on, of course, the topic more than just a property and thinking beyond and owning the destination. So just had to do a little shameless plug. There will be a link in the show notes for people to get tickets 50% off with my code. I'm really excited. I think this is going to be a cool event to hype myself and a bunch of other people up for in-person events. Like when this is able to be in person, to like look back on the virtual side of stuff. I'm actually pretty excited for that. So yeah, that's just for any of our listeners that are watching on replay or live. You can see the dates there, March 23rd through the 26th. But yeah, I'm excited for that. Any conferences that you are doing virtually right now that you're?
I will sign up to you when you're speaking, so I will sign up to the to when you're yeah. One of the World Tourism Forum, right, which is on 29 and 30 of April, which is held in Andermatt, Switzerland, but also it's a hybrid event, so we'll be live. I think 150 people. Depends a bit of the situation. Live. There will be a group of people in Morocco. I think is their country partner, and there will be a hybrid event. And this is the one I'm speaking to, and I'm also their startup coach. I was in the jury this year. We picked a few startups. Again, we won the award in 2017. Brought us a lot of visibility, and if you see the level there, it's great. So I'm really looking forward to this event. I was also for 2 years in the advisory board, and it's a great people around this event. So also have a look at the World Tourism Forum Luzern, which is on 29 and 30 of April this year, and will be also online available. So I don't want to promote and pitch it too much, but I still recommend to have a look at it.
Yeah.
So this is the one. This is one of the ones I'm attending. I think last year I just did a lot of speaking and conferences. I think now it's a bit less, right? You saw, especially end of last year, there were many. I think now people kind of a bit tired of all those events. They might start a few. But now focusing mainly on the business, on Bidroom. We're growing quickly. So let's focus all the effort and all the power and work harder there.
Yes. Awesome. Well, you guys heard it. So we're going to be doing more promotion of events and stuff coming up soon. But other than that, we'll see you and Golden next week.
I have to say, I miss Golden a bit. I have to admit.
Okay, I knew it. I was going to say, there
were no facts, there were no numbers, there was no article shared because it's always his thing. So yes, Golden, if you're looking, of course, you can also look back on our YouTube channel or listen. But yes, we missed you a bit. I have to admit.
We missed you. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, guys, Michael, I don't know. It's just I'm used to saying guys. Damn it. I do miss Golden. I do. All right. Yes. Yeah. So I'll see you again next week, and of course, chat with you soon.